Our journey commences in the dense forests surrounding Nepal and India, where a mysterious female tiger, later christened as the Champawat Tigress, began her reign of terror. As she emerged from the shadows, her presence marked the onset of a haunting saga that would span over 8 years. This was no ordinary tiger. This was a predator turned phantom, her existence marked by an eerie blend of fear and respect. She was a ghost in the dense undergrowth, a fleeting shadow in the moonlit jungle. From the silent rustle of the leaves to the faintest crackle of twigs under her stealthy paws, her very essence signified an impending doom. The early 1900s were a time of simple living, where the villagers in the region lived in harmony with nature. But as the Champawat Tigress began to claim her victims, one by one, this harmony was shattered. The once serene jungles now bore the echo of an unseen terror. The villagers, initially bewildered by the sudden disappearances, soon found themselves gripped by an icy fear. Whispers of a ghostly tigress prowling the night began to circulate. The terror was palpable, the fear contagious. Each day was a game of survival, each night a nightmare. As the body count began to rise, the authorities were alerted. They were faced with a challenge of a scale they had never encountered before. A predator was on the loose, a predator unlike any they had encountered. The Champawat Tigress was not merely a tiger. She was a specter that had sprung from the darkest corners of the jungle, claiming lives with an alarming regularity. The fear and uncertainty that swept across the region were profound. The once bustling villages now lay in the grip of an unseen terror. The vibrant marketplaces were deserted, the laughter and chatter replaced by an eerie silence. The forests were no longer a source of livelihood, but a deadly trap. Over 8 relentless years, this elusive predator cast a dark pall over the region, becoming the stuff of nightmares, with her victim count soaring to over 400. The unsuspecting villagers soon found themselves prey to this enigmatic huntress. The Champawat Tigress, an embodiment of the wild's ruthless law, ruled her territories with an iron paw. Her strikes were lightning swift, her disappearance a whisper in the wind. The villagers, living in the heart of her dominion, were caught in a deadly game of survival with the phantom huntress. Imagine a predator so cunning, so elusive, that their very existence becomes a haunting enigma. This was the Champawat Tigress. Her attacks were not the random acts of a mindless beast, but the calculated strategies of a skilled hunter. She struck with an uncanny precision, her victims carefully selected, and her escape seamlessly executed. The villagers could only marvel at her lethal prowess, even as they trembled in fear. As the death toll continued to rise, the villagers stood as silent witnesses to her reign of terror. Each new dawn brought with it the dread of the unknown, a chilling reminder of the tigress' deadly presence. The villagers lived in constant fear, their lives forever shadowed by the phantom huntress. The tigress was no ordinary beast. Her intelligence, her agility, her stealth, all combined to create a formidable predator. And it was this lethal combination that made her almost impossible to track. Hunters and trackers alike were left baffled by her elusiveness. They ventured into the dense jungles day after day, only to return empty-handed, their pride bruised and their spirits crushed. The phantom huntress was not just a predator. She was a symbol of the untamed wilderness, a testament to the raw power of nature. She was a reminder that even in the heart of civilization, the wild could strike swiftly and without warning. And it was this realization that struck a chord of awe amidst the fear. Her lethal prowess and elusiveness elevated this hunt into a desperate yet awe-inspiring battle of survival. The villagers, the trackers, the hunters, they were all pawns in her game, their lives held hostage by the phantom huntress. And as they cowered in her shadow, the hunt for the Champawat Tigress became not just a pursuit, but a race against time, a struggle for survival in the heart of the wild. Gripped by fear, villagers sought refuge in the shadows as the Champawat Tigress continued her reign of terror. A dark cloud of dread hung heavy over the region, the villagers' lives dictated by the unseen specter of the tigress. The once vibrant sounds of the jungle were now replaced by an eerie silence, punctuated only by the haunting echoes of the unseen predator. As the body count rose, so did the urgency for action. The authorities, recognizing the escalating crisis, launched a desperate pursuit to end the bloodshed. The jungle, once a sanctuary of life, had morphed into a stage for a high-stakes game of survival. The pursuit was no ordinary hunt. It was a race against time, a desperate bid to bring peace back to the terror-stricken communities. The dense foliage of the jungle reverberated with the sounds of this desperate pursuit. The crackling of dry leaves under hurried footsteps, the hushed whispers of the search parties, the occasional rustle in the underbrush, hinting at the presence of the elusive tigress. The stakes were high, and with each passing day the tension grew thicker. The tigress, once the unseen specter, was now the most sought-after entity in the region. But she was elusive, her mastery over the jungle unparalleled. Each failed attempt at capturing her only served to heighten the tension, the fear, and the respect for this formidable predator. Each encounter heightened the stakes for both predator and prey. The game was on, and the outcome was uncertain. The desperate pursuit in the jungle was far from over. Amidst the fear and desperation, the Champawat tigress left behind a legacy stained with tragedy. The chilling aftermath of her encounters painted a haunting picture, one that was far from the ordinary. The tigress, once a symbol of the wild's untamed beauty, became a grim reminder of the fine line that separates survival from terror in the heart of the jungle. Her reign of terror was not just a tale of bloodshed, but a poignant reflection of the intricate balance between man and nature. The villagers, once co-inhabitants of the jungle, found themselves living in the shadow of a predator, their lives forever marred by the haunting memories of those they had lost. The tales of the Champawat tigress were not just stories shared around the fire on cold, moonless nights. They were stark reminders of a time when terror walked on four legs, its roar echoing through the valleys, its shadow looming over the villages. A time when survival was not just a struggle against nature's harsh elements, but a deadly game of hide-and-seek with death itself. These memories, forever etched in the annals of a deadly feline saga, serve as a stark reminder of the power of nature, the fragility of human life, and the hauntingly beautiful yet terrifying reality of coexistence. The legacy of the Champawat tigress, a lethal legacy indeed, stained in tragedy. As the shadow of the Champawat tigress seemed to vanish, enter Jim Corbett, an Indian-born British hunter, renowned for his courage. As the tigress's lethal dance with the villagers seemed to pause, a new player stepped onto this deadly stage. Jim Corbett, born and raised on Indian soil under British rule, was known far and wide for his bravery and expertise in hunting. But Corbett was not your typical hunter. He held a deep respect for the wilderness and its inhabitants. His mission was not merely the thrill of the hunt, but driven by a profound sense of duty. The chilling tales of the Champawat tigress reached Corbett, and he knew he had to step in. With the tigress's trail growing cold, Corbett knew he had to act swiftly. He was not just tracking a single tiger. He was up against the embodiment of fear itself that had gripped the villagers. He had to tread carefully, understanding that this was not just a hunt, but a battle of wits and survival against a formidable adversary. Corbett's arrival brought a glimmer of hope to the terror-stricken villages. His reputation preceded him, and his presence signaled the possibility of an end to the reign of the Phantom Huntress. Drawn by the urgency of the situation, Corbett embarked on an extraordinary mission, a pursuit that would plunge him into the heart of the jungle, face to face with the elusive tigress. The stage was set for an epic showdown that would go down in history. Corbett's pursuit unfolded as a meticulous dance with danger. The final showdown, a convergence of terror and bravery, saw Corbett face off against the Champawat tigress. This was not your typical hunter versus prey scenario. It was a fight where each participant was as formidable as the other. Corbett, a man of courage and unparalleled skills, was not just challenging a predator. He was challenging a phantom that had cast a long, dark shadow over a region, its people living in constant fear. This was the essence of the battle. A struggle not just for survival, but for reclaiming the peace that had been shattered by the Phantom Huntress. The confrontation was a test of Corbett's wits against the Tigress's instinctive cunning. It was a battle of patience and persistence, a test of endurance and a demonstration of human courage against a force of nature. Corbett's understanding of the jungle and its inhabitants played a crucial role in this decisive encounter. As the showdown reached its climax, Corbett's patience, perseverance, and unparalleled hunting skills paid off. In a moment that would forever be etched in the annals of history, he successfully brought down the Champawat Tigress. Her reign of terror was finally over. In a climactic showdown, Jim Corbett triumphed, successfully bringing down the Champawat Tigress, ending her reign of terror. His victory not only brought relief to the terror-stricken communities, but also solidified his legacy as a fearless big-game hunter.